Hi folks, thanks for joining our session today. I'm Sneha Deo, an engineer working on features for the delivery of operating system updates. And today I'm going to share techniques for how you can optimize your monthly Windows update deliveries through this period of remote work, no matter what stage of readiness you're at today. I want to start by acknowledging the elephant in the virtual room. From attending big events like conferences to performing the day-to-day activities that keep organizations running, work is happening in a radically different way this year. It's suddenly become critical for us all to widely embrace hybrid or fully remote work habits to keep things functioning. And this means that we're more reliant than ever on protected and productive devices to perform the essential tasks of our jobs. But it's also extra hard to keep devices serviced and in that protected and productive state. Many organizations' deployment infrastructure is on-premise, while devices are not. And this is where cloud updates can help. By connecting to the cloud, you can adopt the features you need to manage and monitor deployments for your geo-distributed workforce without rebuilding your deployment strategy from scratch. And we know every organization is starting from a different situation and may have unique requirements for when and how updates happen. So today, we'll talk through some of the ways you can start seamlessly integrating cloud updates into your current deployment strategy without having to compromise your unique goals. So let's talk about some of these goals and the challenges you're facing today in meeting them. The first is distribution, how you want your devices to get their updates. How do you make sure that updates are flowing while devices are not in the office? Next, compliance. How devices get critical feature and quality updates at the right time so they're always secure. How can you keep updates flowing and make sure that users are adopting the latest updates for Windows through this period? We've heard that this can be especially hard to track recently, that devices are offline for longer periods of time, and it's harder to work with users to understand what's going on when a device is struggling to complete an update. Well, that's where monitoring comes in. Monitoring provides the reports you need to track progress towards your distribution and compliance goals. You should be able to access the right insights so that you can chart and adjust your course towards ideal deployment outcomes from wherever you and your organization are working today. The good news is there's a whole menu of cloud offerings you can choose from to address these challenges around distribution, compliance, and monitoring for your remote deployments. We know many of you are currently managing updates with on-premise infrastructure, such as Windows Server Update Service or Configuration Manager. Whatever you're using now, we want you to be able to benefit from cloud update technologies in the way that's right for you, allowing you to adopt just the controls you want without having to rebuild your deployment strategy from scratch. If you're interested in a quick solution to challenges around update distribution, we'll talk through how to use the Cloud Management Gateway so that update delivery can happen from the cloud, relieving some traffic over your VPN. If you're looking for more control to make sure your monthly updates meet Microsoft's highest standard for update compliance and user experience, we'll share how you can set up bulletproof cloud deployments using co-management with Microsoft Endpoint Manager or through setting group policies. And finally, if you want to benefit from the latest and greatest update management capabilities from the cloud, we'll share some resources on setting up Intune Cloud Management for your feature and quality update deployments. Let's get started. First, we'll tackle a big problem we've heard from customers who deploy with a fully on-premise solution. How can I even distribute my updates to my remote devices? You've got your ideal strategy set up for deployments using Configuration Manager, and now that your organization is fully remote, devices have to connect over VPN to get updates. That increase in traffic over your VPN can really impact other resources that need to be delivered. And there are extra challenges if your VPN only supports static IP ranges. So how can you quickly resolve this situation before your next monthly update? We recommend taking a few minutes to configure a cloud management gateway. If you use Azure Active Directory and Configuration Manager, you can mirror your on-premise distribution point in the cloud using the Cloud Management Gateway service. And this will mean that when your devices are on-premise, They'll connect to the network distribution point for their updates. But if they're on the internet, they'll connect to the Cloud Management Gateway. You can set up a Cloud Management Gateway distribution point through the Azure Resource Manager. And what's great about this solution is that it quickly and easily resolves concerns around remote work without forcing a major restructuring of how you deploy. Nonetheless, through this period of transition, it's important to make sure that these update deployments are still working the way you expect. If you're a Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager customer, you'll most likely want to use Desktop Analytics for compliant deployment monitoring. Desktop Analytics can provide device-level insights that you need to make data-driven decisions about servicing. My colleagues Dave Bachman and James Bell will be discussing deployment strategies for Configuration Manager in more detail in session DEP03. Prepare to deploy and manage updates for Windows 10 and Office. And there they'll also dive deeper into the rich capabilities you can leverage through Desktop Analytics. If you're interested in learning more, I really encourage you to attend their session. So that's the quickest and easiest way to set up distribution from the cloud if you're a Configuration Manager customer today. But what if you're looking for an opportunity to have more control around how and when your updates are deployed? We've heard that lots of Config Manager customers are interested in the latest and greatest deployment controls that are available through the cloud, but aren't ready to lift and shift their whole deployment strategies. Co-management is a way to start deploying monthly servicing updates with the cloud capabilities of Microsoft Endpoint Manager, so you can try out the easy configuration and management of monthly updates from the cloud while maintaining all the other power of having Config Manager still on your devices. Here's how the co-management scenario allows you to get the best of both worlds. First, in Microsoft Endpoint Manager's Intune portal, you'll set the specific feature update target version to match the version your devices are currently running, so that devices will stay fixed to their current version. Second, you'll specify quality update policies for Windows Update for Business through the normal update ring configuration. And here's where you'll be able to set more granular requirements for how quality updates will deploy to your organization. Finally, in Config Manager, you'll transfer the workload from Config Manager to Intune so that quality updates will start flowing with the requirements you've specified. Let's take a look at how you can execute each of these steps in detail. The first thing we want to do is make sure that we're setting the right fixed feature update version, so only monthly updates get distributed through the cloud. We'll navigate to Intune, and if we take a look under the Devices section, we'll see that we can create a new Windows 10 feature update deployment. Once we've clicked on that option, we can give this deployment a name and a description so we can keep track of it. Most importantly, we should specify the version of Windows we want our devices to stay on by setting the feature update to deploy field to that version. Here we've picked version 1803. We'll assign our devices and commit this policy, and bam, we're done configuring feature updates. All right, so now what we do want is for quality updates to be delivered. So let's set up the right policies in Intune to make that happen. From back on the main Intune page, we'll navigate to the Windows 10 Update Rings option and create a Windows 10 update ring. We'll set up our update rings to deliver quality updates to the right devices, and we'll also determine how that happens with the policies you see on this page. We'll use the deferral policies on each ring to control when devices in that ring become eligible to receive an update. And further down the page, we'll find the deadline settings. Microsoft strongly recommends every enterprise to enable deadline and grace period policies. These policies ensure quality updates are delivered by the time you need them, but that users have a grace period to complete the update at their convenience, meaning you can reliably meet your patch compliance goals with minimal impact on user productivity. We recommend leaving as many other settings as possible on this page at their default, so that devices can get the best update experience for Windows. Once you have set these policies, we can apply the update ring to a set of devices and submit. If you want a deeper dive on the update ring policies in Intune, watch Ignite section MEM24, Managing Windows Updates from the Cloud with Microsoft Endpoint Manager. I'll link that in the resources page that I'm going to show at the end of this session. All right, so finally, let's make sure that Configuration Manager is ready for co-management. We'll go into the Config Manager properties to switch the Windows Update Policies workload to the Intune setting and hit Apply. Once done, your monthly servicing of quality updates will be delivered from the Windows Update endpoint while keeping all other updates delivered how you want them. Of course, you can still monitor co-managed deployments with desktop analytics like I showed you earlier. But in addition, one other reporting solution you might want to check out is Update Compliance. It is a website built on top of your Log Analytics workspace to provide you with rich insights about the deployment status of both quality and feature updates. Worth noting, we just recently added a new report on the site to tell you which of your feature updates may be subject to safeguard holds, protections that prevent devices from encountering known issues as Microsoft rolls out new feature updates for Windows. You can learn more about this and other reporting and analysis capabilities at the link we've shared here. Maybe you saw some of the monthly update policies we just went over and are really interested in using them for your deployments, but you're not currently using Configuration Manager or you haven't yet enrolled devices in Azure Active Directory. Let's talk about how you can start using these controls for best-in-class deployments by enrolling your devices into Windows Update for Business using group policy settings. Though it's not quite as simple as flipping the slider in Intune, using group policy is an easy way to get Windows updates directly from the Windows Update endpoint. In order to do so, it's important to note that you should not use an allow list for VPN. And if you do, we'll have a resource for you in our resource slide at the end of this presentation. But assuming you do not have an allow list for your VPN, you can simply set the following through the group policy editor. So let's open that up right now. From my group policy editor, I'm going to navigate to administrative templates and then down to Windows components. I'll navigate to Windows Update and I'll see all of the group policies that I have available to me here. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I'm enabling devices to scan Windows Update directly. And there's 3 policies that I need to set to make sure that that's happening. The first is do not allow update deferral policies to cause scans against Windows updates. And that's right here. And I'm going to want to make sure that it's either in the not configured or disabled state. The second thing I'm going to do is make sure that the do not connect to any Windows Update internet locations is set to not configured. And then the third thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the specify intranet Microsoft Update service location is also not configured or disabled. Great, so once we've done that, now we can make sure that our devices will scan against Windows Update. But now we also want to make sure that our quality updates are going to happen when we want them. And so we're going to click into specify deadlines for automatic updates and restarts. We're going to enable this, and then we're going to configure quality update deadlines to the recommended best practice from Microsoft, which is to set quality updates to a date of 3. Leave feature updates at 7, and we're also going to specify a grace period of 2. And this grace period is, like we mentioned before, going to allow device users to schedule updates around their convenience while still making sure that they meet your compliance goals in terms of completing the update by the deadline that you're looking to achieve. All right, we'll click OK, and that sets our update policies through group policy. For best-in-class experience with these group policies, we really recommend you only set the ones that you really need, so you can fully benefit from the default Windows Update experiences while making sure that your update compliance goals are achieved. The default Windows behavior for updates leverages the latest data insights to ensure devices are offered updates when they'll have the best possible experience, and will shift updates to happen automatically outside of working hours or at the user scheduled time. Now, as you saw in the group policy editor, there are a lot of policies that can affect your success at meeting your patch compliance goals. Group policy is a super powerful tool, but we have found often that configuring it incorrectly can slow down your update compliance rate. These settings affect not just obvious Windows Update settings, but others, including things like power and network behaviors. What we've heard from many of you is that you'd like Microsoft's recommendations on the best configurations in order to simply and reliably achieve your goals. And that's why we've created the Update Baseline, a bundle of Microsoft's recommended settings in one easy-to-deploy package. It provides a fresh starting point for new and current group policy users who want to snap to the recommended policy settings, and it works just like the security baselines many of you are already familiar with. Let's take a quick look at how this works. We're going to bring up the server where you want to deploy the Update Baseline for your devices. First, we open the location of the Update Baseline tool. Then, with a simple command, we run the PowerShell script. You can see the group policy object has successfully been added. With the get GPO all command, you can see all of the group policy objects currently in Group Policy Management Console through PowerShell. When you open the Group Policy Management Console, in the GUI itself, you can see Update Baseline listed under Group Policy Objects. In Settings, you can see policies and their configurations. Now that the Update Baseline Group Policy object has been loaded into Group Policy Management Console, all an IT admin has to do is link the Update Baseline with the devices that they would like to apply it to. Every time a device undergoes a GPO refresh, the Update Baseline GPO will be reapplied, thereby enforcing policy configurations. If you want to check it out, you can find the Update Baseline at this URL, along with an extensive white paper with tons of great tips for optimizing update adoption rates in your organization. Let us know what you think. All right, so now we've covered a bunch of capabilities for managing distribution and compliance goals for monthly updates. So maybe you're also interested in similar capabilities for managing your feature update deployments. We know that there's a lot of planning that goes into a minimally disruptive feature update deployment, and that it's important to be able to make sure your devices are staying on the right versions of Windows so that they can keep getting monthly updates and staying secure. By managing Windows updates fully through Intune, you can smoothly and simply achieve your deployment goals for both quality and feature updates. We're so excited to share a ton of great new deployment controls for feature updates through Intune, and that warrants its own session. And so to see the full set of Intune Windows Update Management capabilities, check out session MEM24, Managing Windows Updates from the Cloud with Microsoft Endpoint Manager. I'll link that in the resources section of this presentation as well. We wanted to give you a sneak peek of one of the reporting features that will be available through Intune. By using Intune to manage your feature updates, you can leverage a new reporting option embedded in the Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center, tracking progress towards update completion, with reporting for monthly quality updates to follow soon. You'll be able to see high-level insights on how your deployments are doing, which devices might be encountering issues, and discover the actions you'll need to take to unblock progress. So we've talked about a variety of options that'll hopefully meet you wherever you're at today, but will allow you to start adopting some of the goodness of cloud-connected deployments within minutes. Whether you're just branching out from on-prem solutions to use a cloud management gateway, or you're ready to adopt co-management, or you're switching over to Windows Updates for Business to manage your deployments, I hope this session has really provided you with some concrete ways to take some of the benefits of the cloud home with you today. And because there's always more learning to do, we've pulled together a variety of resources that we've referenced through this session for your further reading and listening, depending on the challenges you're facing. Be sure to check them out. Thank you so much for joining me today. In wrapping, I hope that this session has helped you identify the strategies that you'll need to chart your own course towards really solid update management while we have a record number of remote workers. Thanks for your time.